If you've ever been on a conversation with a seller, you feel like the conversation's going well, but as soon as they hit you with their asking price, your stomach drops. I'm going to show you how to prevent that from ever happening again. If you don't know who I am, my name is John Lalonde, and I run a multiple seven-figure wholesaling business. And all we do on this channel is teach you lessons that I've learned on scaling my business and making it more profitable. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back. I guarantee this will get you more consistent discounts on your properties. So if you haven't seen any of my other videos on going through our needs anchor consequence process, I highly recommend that you watch those. But I'm going to give you an overview if you haven't, so that way you can be caught up to speed. You see, what most wholesalers do wrong is they ask the seller how much they're looking to get for the property. And where does the seller's brain go? It goes to the Zillow price, it goes to the comps, or maybe a realtor told them that they can sell it for 10% over market value. Either way, that's not a price that we'll be able to buy the property for and make a profit. And so step one is, instead of focusing on what the seller wants, you're going to focus on what the seller actually needs. Now, the way you do this is, the first thing you get is problem impact. You want to understand all of the problems that they're dealing with their current property or their current situation. Maybe they have debt they need to pay off. Maybe they don't like the house anymore. It's in a dangerous neighborhood. Whatever it is, you need to get them to relive that pain so that way they actually feel it. Now, from there, you need to get clarity on what we call their future state. Their future state is what their life looks like after they're no longer dealing with this problem, or once they've started the next chapter of their life. Now, it's really important that you get them to sell themselves on the future state. You don't want to just ask them what's going to happen after you sell. You want them to really paint that picture. What are you looking forward to the most about this next chapter of their life? How are they going to feel once they are in that next chapter? How are they going to feel once they no longer have to deal with these problems? And the better that you can do that, the lower price you're going to get when you focus on the needs. And so the needs, simply put, are the seller's bottom dollar that it would take to be able to solve that problem or get to their future state. And it's extremely important that you ask the needs at the emotional high point of the sale. Think about it like this. Have you ever had a really good conversation with a seller? They were extremely motivated. They were excited to move forward. And you call them back 25, 30 minutes later, and it seems like all of their urgency is completely gone. That's because what happens is, when they're having that first conversation, they're feeling the urgency. They're feeling the excitement for the future state. But the second you get off that call, they start cooking dinner. They start helping their kids with homework. Their brain is in a completely different place. And that's not when you want to drop the price. You want to drop the price when they are most excited about solving their problem. And so the way that that looks is, you get them to experience their problem. You get them to experience their future state. You ask them how it's going to feel once they're no longer dealing with said problem, or they are in their future state. And as soon as you get that, you say, look, my entire goal is to be able to help you do that thing. So walk me through, how much do you need in your pocket to be able to do that? Now, today, what we're going to be focusing on is when the seller gives you a number that is far higher than something you can work with, specifically when they start bringing up comparables. Now, the better you land this, typically what they're going to do is they're going to tell you that they need XYZ to pay off their credit cards. They need to get the down payment of their next house, whatever that is. But as you're learning this process, you might not have delivered it perfectly. And so the seller's going to misinterpret what you're asking and instead start directing their brain to what the comp sold for. And so when that happens, this is what you're going to do. So step one, at the emotional high point, we're going to ask them how much they need. Now, if this is a landlord that has 30 rental properties, they're retired, it doesn't really make sense to ask that question. You could say, how much would you need in your pocket for this to make sense for you? That's generally going to get you a more generic answer where they are going to bring up comparables. So when they bring up comparables, you want to play their game as well. So what you're going to do is, first, you're going to disarm them. You're going to say, hey, completely understand, and my goal is to get you as much money as possible. My only concern is, then you are going to bring up some of the comparables. Now, what you want to do is, you want to bring up some of the comparables that are active on the market. You want to bring up some of the comparables that have sold that are similar to theirs. And ideally, this should be comparables that are priced a little bit under what their asking price is. You don't want to bring up comparables that are higher than what their asking price is. So I will bring up that comp. And then what I'll do is, I'll say something like this. My concern is, I know it's really important for you to sell this faster. So instead of the 360 that this person got, all of the offers come in around 335 to 340. Now, if that happened, would that kill you, or would you still be able to get to X, Y, and Z? They would go, no, that wouldn't kill me. I think I'd be able to do that. Okay, perfect. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to break down the net number to them. And so the net number to them is how much they would walk away with after closing costs, commissions, and in concessions. So what I'll do is I'll ask them, are you familiar with how much that's going to cost? A lot of times they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no. So I'll bring it up. Yeah, usually the commissions alone are between 5 and 6%. The closing costs are between 2. And are you aware of what concessions are? They go, no, I'm not really aware of that. So concessions are really common in today's market. Essentially, all they are is you are going to be offering a credit to the buyer to do repairs, buy down their rate, things that will help them feel more comfortable to be able to buy your property. Almost everyone's doing it nowadays. And usually it ends up being about 2% of the sale. Now I want to get their agreement on that. Were you aware of that? Do you see how that works? They're going to say yes. Once I get that agreement, I'm going to say, so generally the average cost of a sale is about 10%. If you had your 335, you would take out 35,000. That would put you at roughly 300. Now that being said, that would be getting your 335 offer. That's what you would walk away with. So far, ideally I've got them from 385 down to 300. I've got a much lower baseline that I'll be able to anchor off of. So they go, okay, that makes sense. I see that I could get the 300,000. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up any of the repairs that it would need. So I'm going to say, you said that it needed this. You said that it needed that. How much do you think that's going to cost? Then I'm going to make sure that they are in alignment with what that would really cost. And I will subtract that from the offer. So I'll say, okay, so it needs another $20,000 in work. That would realistically put you at around 280,000. They go, okay, yeah, I see what you mean by that. And then I'm going to ask again. So if you got the 280, would you still be able to do X, Y, and Z? I want to get them bought back in. I want to tie them back to the result. Now, the next part of this process after I get the repairs is I want to go in for my anchor. And so the way I'm going to anchor is I'm not just going to say they want 380 and I'm going to anchor at 250. I'm going to get a ton of sales resistance if I do that. But what I can do is I can anchor off the number that I just broke them down to. So I've got them from 385 all the way down to 280. Now I'm going to anchor on that number. And my biggest concern is because you want to sell this a little bit quicker, all of the real cash offers realistically are going to come in around the 250 mark. I know that's about $30,000 less than you would get if you listed it on the market. But if that was the absolute best offer you could get, would you still be able to? And I'm going to repeat back the problem that they are trying to solve. Notice I am slowly whittling away at their number. I got them all the way from 385 down to 350 or 360, and then down to 335, and then down to 300, and then 280, all the way down to 250. And when you do this, you are able to get a really good anchor out without offending the seller. Now, you might be wondering at this point, John, but what happens if they don't agree with those numbers? What happens if they say that they wouldn't take that offer or that they would just list it themselves? That is why we have something called a consequence question. So consequence questions are the cost of inaction. What happens if they don't solve this problem? And once they feel that, they are more inclined to be able to move forward with the number that we have on the table. I'm going to show you an example of what that looks like. So let's say I went through my comps, I went through the net, I went through the repairs, I went through the anchor, and at some point they got caught up. They said, no, there's no way I wouldn't be able to do that. What we're going to ask them is, hey, you might be better off just keeping the property, but what happens if you are still dealing with this problem in the next 3 to 6 months and you don't have this taken care of? Or let's say they're more future driven. I would say, what happens if you're not able to get to that property in the next 3 to 6 months and you're still stuck where you're at? Now, the better you do at getting problem impact and getting future state, the better this question is going to land. And so what's going to happen here is the seller's going to think about that. They're going to go, yeah, I really wouldn't want to have to deal with that. And so then you're going to ask them again, would the 280 actually put you in a better position to be able to do that? Now, a lot of times what they hit you with is a maybe. If they hit you with a maybe, you're going to let that question breathe and you're going to say, why do you feel like it might? The reason I want to say, why do you feel like it might, is because this is going to get them to sell themselves on that the offer would actually help them. They might say something like, well, at the end of the day, I just need enough money to put down a down payment on the next property and pay off my credit cards. Then what I'll say is, that was the most important thing, right? They say yes. And I say, do you see how this offer would help you do that? And that is the exact step-by-step process on how to get sellers to lower their number when they are bringing up comparables or they are already in logical based thinking. And if you want help actually practicing this, we have an advanced group where we role play 5 times a day. We have a marketing call, a dispo call, an underwriting call, and an owners only call where we teach you how to hire, onboard, and train your acquisitions reps. The scripting is one thing, the implementation is everything. So if you want some additional training, we have a link inside the description where you can apply for our advanced group, make sure that you're hitting the income requirement that you need to be able to get in, and we can help you scale your business even further. If you're not quite ready yet, that's completely okay. We have new videos like this every single week. So make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.